if you're listening to this and are looking for some financial advice, let me just give you a heads up that I don't have the best advice for you because your girl is struggling, and what this episode essentially is about is the mistakes I've made and what I'm learning along the way. And so as I'm getting older, I'm starting to realize that the way to make money is not to save. That is probably what we've heard many, many times along our childhood, is in order to be rich, you just need to save. That's not all necessarily that true. What our parents and our teachers fail to realize is that we're humans, and our human behaviors indicate the way we manage our money. And if you're like me, probably a lot of my listeners out there have struggled to find a good way to manage their finances, to budget. And I think it really stems down to the way we were brought up, depending on where you came from. But for the most part, most of us didn't come from a very financially literate family, right? No one really taught us, okay, hey, this is what you need to do in order to make this much. And no one really shows you how to navigate your finances. All they say is save. And the biggest thing I've realized as a 23-year-old, now that I'm trying to really learn and manage my money, is here's one. There's three things. So number one is impulse purchases. I have a bad habit of impulsively buying things when I'm either sad, happy. It really is all emotion based, and that's what they don't tell you. A lot of your spending comes from the way you're feeling. And if you can't control your emotions, then you can't manage your money. That is something I'm slowly learning. And when I was going through college, I was going through so many different emotional stages of burnout, exhaustion, and everything you can really think of. And so anytime I felt sad or depressed, I would buy something to make up for what I was feeling. And when I was happy, I felt like I had a good day. I thought I should reward myself and go buy some bubble tea or eat out. For the most part, I'm one of those girls who don't really spend money on clothes. It's all really on food. I will spend as much money on food. Regardless, the point is, your emotions determine your choices. And I'm slowly learning that, okay, I don't need to eat out every single day in order to satisfy my emotions of sadness or happiness. And it really is a matter of being more disciplined with my money. So that's something I'm slowly working on. I am definitely not great at that. I am still learning for sure. There's definitely days where I feel like I don't want to cook anything. I am just exhausted from work, mentally exhausted. And that's also another thing I want to touch on is mental exhaustion, whether it's from work, school, family, kids, whatever it is. We just want something quick, right? We just want to eat. I mean, this really stems down to food. I feel like one of the biggest factors to why we aren't saving is food. Obviously, one being rent or mortgage, and then two is food. And the reason why mental exhaustion plays a big part in this is because there's days where like I said, I come home from work and I just feel mentally exhausted, and all I want to do is buy some noodles, like a bowl of warm noodles. And I do that. I used to do that probably 2 to 3 times a week, and I'm slowly starting to stop and create a routine where I was more strict and I was more disciplined. And actually, while I was, funny enough, in college too, I think I managed my finances a little bit better then, but I also was indulging in a lot of food. I don't know how I made it work, but I did. What I'm trying to get at is that there's days where I don't feel like cooking and I'm just going to buy food for dinner. or I didn't make any food for lunch, so I'm gonna go eat out. And that's something I am struggling like crazy with, because I find myself eating out for lunch maybe 3 times a week, and I need to scale that down to like none. It's gonna be hard going cold turkey for sure, but I think this week I'm gonna do my best to really meal prep, because I feel like when you're put in like such a financial situation like I am right now, I feel like you're kind of forced to work with what you have, which is great. It teaches you life lessons, you know, the painful ones and the ones that kind of make you be more disciplined in a way. And so this week I'm planning on just meal prepping, packing a lot of food for lunch, and then coming home to make some easy, quick meals. And also what I've been loving recently is learning new, quick, healthy recipes to make. Like the other day I made a warm bowl of udon noodles with beef and bok choy with some enoki mushrooms, and that was so simple. It honestly took like less than 30 minutes, and it was so filling. So in moments of financial distress, you kind of learn to work with what you have with the time you have. So you get creative. Although it's painful to go through these financial situations, I'll just call it that, it teaches you to be creative, to work with what you have. And I think it's in these moments that we learn what we're capable of, and it pushes you to literally work with what you have in your kitchen, work with what you have in your closet. This doesn't necessarily mean you have to not spend anything at all and go cold turkey. Trust me, that does not work. For some people, great, your discipline's amazing, but it's spring and I do need some new clothes, but you have to be selective with what you buy. And I think that I don't need a lot of things. I think also I love clothes and I love to style myself. I would consider myself my own personal stylist. And in order for me to really truly be a good stylist for myself, I have to work with what I have, right? And so that's pushing me to be creative. When I was with roommates, I felt even more creative because I was like, I don't know, we were going out more and I just worked with what I have in my closet and played with different things and paired it with different things. And so that's something I want to tap into again, is just working with the clothes that I have in my closet and playing with it and just having fun. I feel like everyone who goes through a lot of financial distress, I feel like that has a big toll, you know, and it does. It really reflects on how you feel and how you see life. And I feel like it's a matter of reframing where you're at. I was pretty bummed for a couple weeks of like, oh, I can't believe I'm in this deep hole. Like, I don't know what to do. I had to reframe my situation as, okay, what is this moment teaching me? I'm in my 20s. I'm obviously not financially literate, and I'm trying to learn on my own on how to navigate my finances. So this is the lesson. You know, there's always a lesson to be learned is what I'm saying. And although it's not fun when you're in it and it's exhausting, mentally exhausting to think about where you're at and how much debt you're in, whether it's with student loans or with mortgages or whatever it is. I feel like as you get older, everybody goes into debt. And that's something we really shouldn't normalize, you know, but it does happen. I feel like it's one of those things that they don't teach you is, oh, you have a credit card, make sure you're only spending a max of $500 a month and paying that off every month. I wish somebody would have told me that, because, girl, let me tell you, these credit cards are not a joke, and there's no handbook on how to use a credit card. You just learn the hard way of not to spend so much when you're already that deep in it. And so I am going to make a separate episode about this, because there's just so much to unravel and so much to learn that I'm still learning. And the interest rates on your credit card are crazy depending what you have, but that's also another factor I don't want to touch on right now. But what I've also learned along the way is, in order to save more, you need to spend less. So often people are like, okay, I need to make more money. I need to do this. I need to find a different job. I need this. Like, people are trying to look outwardly for the answer. But really, it's you. It's me. I need, and we need, to spend less money. And that's something that I need to, that just really put things into perspective for me, is that in order for me to save more money, I need to spend less and be more intentional with what I'm spending. Because it really comes down, the root cause of why a lot of people are in debt is because of their lack of discipline, the lack of managing and navigating their emotions. No one tells you how important it is to control your emotions, because that, like I said, is the biggest factor into why we do certain things, the choices we make, the things we see. Like, the way we look at life is based on how we feel. And it's a matter of really disconnecting yourself from the outside world and take time to reflect on what really matters, taking inventory of your life, of what really matters. Because right now, when I'm thinking about it, what really matters right now is today. Too often I'm thinking about what I'm going to do the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year. So focused on these goals I'm trying to accomplish that my head gets wrapped around this chaotic ball. And so I feel like I need to slow down and take inventory of what really matters. And that's just, what matters is today and what I'm going to do. And after this, I'm going to give Barley a bath because we're going to go on a nice long walk together around the lake and enjoy this sunny day, because it's been super gloomy here in Minnesota for the past 4 to 5 days. So I'm going to take the time to enjoy some sun today, get some vitamin D, because that's free. That's another thing, is what are some things you can do that's free, that's fun? The best things in life are free. Free hugs, free walks, free art museums, free galleries, free cafes. I mean, cafes aren't free, but the experience is free. So think about some experiences that you can indulge in that would enhance your state of well-being. For me, it's going on a nice long walk. I feel like that really unravels this cluster of overthinking I find myself in all the time. Cooking. If you don't follow me on Instagram, then you don't know how much I love to cook. I love to document everything I eat. And I don't know, I just love the presentation and, at the end of what I'm cooking. I like to keep the people in the loop of these nourishing meals that I make. And so I think that is something I love to indulge in, is just cooking and making fun and nourishing meals and trying out new recipes. Having fun doesn't necessarily mean you have to go out all the time. It doesn't mean you have to eat out all the time. It's simply doing things that make you happy. Free things. And so if you get anything from this episode, I hope that it's to really narrow down what's important, take inventory of your life, and try to navigate your emotions. That's probably the best way you can save money, is to be more disciplined. When you feel like you need to impulsively buy something, hold yourself back, because if you can't buy, I think I heard a quote, and this was probably by somebody who isn't really relevant, but if you can't buy something twice, don't buy it at all. And I think that's a good rule of thumb to go by. And it's a good thought. I mean, every time I've been going to the store recently, I'm like, do I really need this? I will say that out loud. I'm like, do I really need this? And so I put it back. And so, I mean, just like hearing yourself say, do I really need this? Do I really want this? Do I love this? Listen to yourself, because most of the time when I'm shopping for clothes, I'm like, do I love this? I'm not in love with it, so I'm not gonna buy it. If I like something, I'll pick it up, and then in the end, I have like 10 different pieces, and I go through all of them, right? And I'm like, okay, am I in love with this? Nope, put it back. So I end up probably buying 1 or 2 things out of the 10 things I pick up, and I think that's a good rule of thumb to shop, you know, when you're shopping, is pick what you like, and then in the end go through it and see what you really love and what your funds allow. So like I said, I don't have a lot of advice for you, because I myself am still learning how to manage my money, and I have this quote on my wall that reminds me every day: you can't manage what you don't measure. Essentially, you need to constantly manage your finances in order to, you know, I mean, you need to measure your finances in order to manage it, if that makes sense. I don't mean to go overboard and check it, you know, all the time, every hour, but at least once a day, see where it's at. And one thing that I am going to start implementing is just paying with cash, because, girl, let me tell you, it is too easy, way too easy to spend money when you have tap on your phone. Now, if you, I don't know, I feel like tap is kind of universal now. Paying with your phone is so easy because you always have your phone with you, but you don't see the money going out. And that's what makes it so easy and bad for your wallet, because you don't see what is going out. Whereas if you're using physical cash, you can see, oh, I'm spending $20 for this meal, or oh, I'm spending $40 to $80 on these shoes. You can physically see how much you're spending. And so that's something I'm going to try and see how that goes. You know, what's weird too is that some places don't take cash anymore, so that's another thing. But if you can physically see your money going in and out, I feel like that kind of helps you visualize where your money is going and how much is going. So if you've listened this far, thank you very much. I love you, and I hope to see you in another episode real soon. Salamat.